Imagine this. You've just finished dinner, baked salmon, a crisp salad, a touch of olive oil. You feel proud, responsible, maybe even a little invincible. After all, you've spent years learning what's healthy. You wash the dishes, turn off the lights, and drift into sleep. But as the night deepens, something else stirs quietly within you. A slow, invisible shift inside your blood vessels and brain. No pain. No warning. Just a subtle imbalance building molecule by molecule. And by morning, a slurred word, a dizzy spell, a weak hand reaching for balance that isn't there. Here's the unsettling truth. After 60, the foods that once healed and protected you can begin to behave differently. Even betray you. Not because they've changed, but because you have. Your kidneys filter more slowly. Your blood vessels stiffen like aging branches that no longer bend in the wind. Hormones that once fired with precision now whisper in uneven tones. The same meal that once nourished you can now quietly tip the scales toward danger. And the greatest shock? Sometimes it isn't the fast food or the fried indulgence that hurts you. It's the vegetables, the ones you've been told for decades were the heroes of your plate. Doctors who've spent their careers studying senior nutrition have witnessed it countless times. Foods that sustained you at 40 can backfire at 70, especially when combined with common medications or eaten at the wrong time of day. Science now understands why. As we age, the body's chemistry shifts. Enzymes slow, absorption changes, and vascular elasticity declines. What was once fuel for youth can, without awareness, become friction against the aging system. But here's the beautiful side of this truth. Awareness is medicine. When you understand how your body evolves with time, you stop fighting it. You begin to eat, rest, and live with it. You start to see health not as a list of good and bad foods, but as a relationship. One that requires adaptation, respect, and timing. In the quiet of that imagined night, as blood moves through narrow capillaries and the heart beats faithfully in your chest, the difference between harm and healing can be as simple as when you eat, what you pair together, and how you listen to your body's changing rhythm. So tonight, we step into a deeper understanding, uncovering the 9 vegetables that may quietly raise your stroke risk after 60, not to create fear, but to spark wisdom. Because once you see the hidden chemistry behind your meals, you'll never look at your plate the same way again. And as we move forward, remember this: nature never meant to harm you. It simply requires that you grow wiser with age, just as it does. Now, let's begin with the vegetable you've trusted all your life, yet one that can turn from friend to foe with a single overlooked detail. Spinach, the two-faced friend of the brain. For decades, spinach has worn the crown of health. From cartoon heroes to doctors' advice, it's been the symbol of vitality. Green, pure, and brimming with iron, fiber, and antioxidants. It's true, spinach is a nutrient powerhouse. It strengthens bones, fuels muscles, and guards the heart. But like many heroes of nature, it carries a hidden duality, one that emerges only when time changes the way your body works. Spinach is rich in oxalates, tiny organic compounds that, under the right conditions, bind tightly to calcium. In youth, the kidneys work efficiently, flushing these oxalates out like a gentle river washing away sand. But after 60, that river slows. The filters, your nephrons, are no longer as sharp or as fast. When you add calcium or vitamin D supplements, a well-intentioned choice for bone health, you create the perfect chemical storm. Oxalates and calcium meet in the bloodstream, forming microscopic crystals, calcium oxalate, that can quietly accumulate in the arteries that feed your brain. Imagine fine grains of sand swirling in a narrow pipe. You don't see it, you don't feel it, not for months or even years. But one day, that pipe clogs. A clot forms. Blood flow halts. And what began as a healthy habit ends in a silent stroke overnight. I'll never forget Harold Briner, a 76-year-old retired firefighter from Milwaukee. Discipline was his second nature. Every evening, he prepared his spinach salad with feta, then took his calcium and vitamin D supplements, proud of his nightly ritual. One winter morning, his wife found him slumped over the kitchen table, coffee spilled, his words tangled in confusion. Harold had suffered a stroke in his sleep. His scans showed narrowed, calcified arteries and elevated oxalate levels, a perfect storm that had been silently forming in the background of his healthy life. He looked at me later, tears in his eyes, and said, "Doc, I thought I was doing everything right." It's a story that speaks to a greater truth about aging, not weakness, but transformation. The body you live in at 70 isn't the same one you had at 40. Its chemistry evolves. Its priorities shift. What once healed can now harm if you don't adapt. Science backs this up. Studies on renal aging show a decline in the kidney's glomerular filtration rate, GFR, after the 6th decade of life, meaning waste, like oxalates, lingers longer. Meanwhile, calcium supplements, though beneficial for bones, can raise the concentration of calcium in the blood. Combine the two, and those once harmless compounds become the building blocks of microcalcification, the kind of silent change that narrows vessels, reduces oxygen flow, and primes the brain for ischemic damage. But here's where knowledge transforms fear into power. Spinach isn't your enemy. It's your teacher. It reminds you that balance, not excess, is the art of longevity. The secret lies in when and how you eat it. If you love spinach, enjoy it earlier in the day, at breakfast or lunch, when your kidneys are more active and your hydration higher. Pair it with hydration and magnesium-rich foods, not extra calcium. Talk to your doctor if you take supplements or have kidney concerns. A handful here and there is enough. It's the nightly routine that creates trouble. In truth, spinach is a mirror of aging itself, still full of life, still powerful, but requiring gentler handling and wiser timing. Respect that balance, and it remains your ally. Ignore it, and it can quietly turn against you. As one of my mentors once said, the poison is always in the dose and in the timing. Next, we turn to another beloved vegetable, one praised for its purity and heart-protective powers. But in the aging body, it hides a different risk, one shaped by chemistry, medication, and the fragile balance between life and blood. Broccoli, heart helper or hidden brain risk. We all grew up hearing it. Eat your broccoli. It was the emblem of health, the green badge of discipline at the dinner table. And for good reason. Broccoli is rich in antioxidants, vitamin C, fiber, and compounds that fight inflammation, and even cancer. But in the delicate world of the aging body, even a hero can become a hazard. Not because it changes, but because the balance within you does. The secret lies in one powerful nutrient, vitamin K, essential for blood clotting, bone strength, and vascular integrity. In youth, vitamin K helps patch small injuries in blood vessels, ensuring the body heals swiftly and efficiently. But for millions of seniors who take blood thinners, medications like warfarin, Plavix, or even a daily aspirin, That same vitamin can throw the entire system off balance. You see, these medications are designed to reduce clotting, to keep blood flowing freely, and prevent strokes. Vitamin K, on the other hand, promotes clotting. The two are in constant conversation inside your bloodstream, a fragile dance between protection and danger. If that balance tips too far in either direction, the consequences can be devastating. Suddenly increasing your broccoli intake while on blood thinners can make your blood too thick, heightening the risk of a clot. Cut broccoli out entirely and your blood may become too thin, setting the stage for internal bleeding. The tragedy? You won't feel a thing until it's too late. Take the story of Clara Newton, an 82-year-old retired school teacher from Pennsylvania. Clara did everything right. She took her medication faithfully and filled her plate with steamed broccoli each evening, believing she was nourishing her heart. But her consistency wasn't the problem. It was her silence. She never mentioned her diet to her doctor. Over time, her blood chemistry began to swing unpredictably, seesawing between clotting and thinning. One afternoon, she felt a mild headache and confusion. Minutes later, she collapsed. The scans revealed a hemorrhagic stroke, bleeding inside her brain. Not from high blood pressure, not from trauma, but from a blood imbalance caused by her daily healthy habit. Clara survived, but her words slowed. Her movements grew hesitant. She later said softly, "I thought food couldn't hurt me, not broccoli." In that single sentence lies the quiet danger of modern wellness, the belief that natural means harmless. In truth, nature and medicine speak the same language. They both work in chemistry, in interaction, in equilibrium. Vitamin K isn't bad. Broccoli isn't the enemy. The danger comes when we forget that health, like life, depends on consistency and communication. Historically, this balance has fascinated scientists. Vitamin K was first discovered in 1929 by Danish biochemist Henrik Dam, who noticed that chickens deprived of fat-soluble vitamins suffered bleeding disorders. That discovery would later save millions. But it also revealed how even microscopic nutrients can wield enormous power over life and death. So what's the takeaway for those over 60? If you're on blood thinners, you don't need to ban broccoli from your plate. You need to master it. Eat it in consistent amounts, week to week. Talk openly with your doctor about your diet, because your food is part of your treatment, not separate from it. Think of your blood like a river. Too fast, and it erodes. Too slow, and it clogs. The key is flow. Steady, calm, unchanging. And that flow depends on awareness. As we age, the line between nourishment and harm grows thinner. But so does the line between ignorance and wisdom. What you once ate freely must now be eaten mindfully. That's not loss, it's evolution. Up next, we turn to something far gentler, or so it seems. Crisp, light, refreshing. A dinner salad that feels like the very symbol of health. But even here, hidden in the cool crunch of romaine lettuce, lies a subtle risk that can strike in the quiet hours of the night. Romaine lettuce, the midnight trap. For many seniors, a light evening salad feels like the perfect ritual, clean, refreshing, and guilt-free. A quiet symbol of discipline before rest. Romaine lettuce, with its crisp green leaves and cool crunch, is often the centerpiece of that meal. Yet in the aging body, this innocent habit can carry an invisible cost. The truth lies not in the lettuce itself, but in the subtle dance of hydration and circulation that changes as we age. Romaine is a natural diuretic, meaning it gently encourages the body to release water. In youth, that's barely noticeable. The kidneys recover quickly, thirst signals trigger easily, and the body replenishes what it loses. But after 60, that system grows less responsive. The kidneys work more slowly. The thirst signal, once a clear call, becomes a whisper. You may not feel thirsty, yet your body grows quietly dehydrated. Now, imagine this. You enjoy your romaine salad for dinner, go to bed, and drift into sleep. During the night, your body continues releasing water. Your blood thickens slightly. The vessels in your brain, already more fragile with age, must now push this denser blood through narrower passages. It's like forcing syrup through a straw instead of water. One small clot forms, and by morning, speech slurs, a hand trembles, and confusion sets in. This is what happened to Leon Carter, a 75-year-old retired factory worker from Indianapolis. Each night, he fixed a large romaine salad with cucumbers and vinegar. Light, refreshing, healthy. He avoided heavy dinners, took his blood pressure medication faithfully, and stayed active in his church. But one morning, his wife found him sitting at the edge of the bed, his right arm weak, his words garbled. Leon had suffered a mild stroke overnight. Tests revealed thickened blood, signs of dehydration, and low sodium levels, the perfect storm quietly built by his well-meaning nighttime salads. Leon recovered after months of therapy, but his faith in food was shaken. "I thought I was being healthy," he told me. "I didn't know lettuce could do this." It's a haunting reminder that aging doesn't just slow us down. It changes the rules. What once refreshed the body can now strain it. It's not betrayal, it's biology. Science explains this clearly. After the age of 65, total body water decreases by as much as 15%, and renal blood flow may drop by nearly 50% compared to youth. That means even mild dehydration can raise blood viscosity, thickening blood, and making clot formation more likely, particularly in those taking diuretics or blood pressure medications. When combined with nighttime dehydration, the result can be a dangerous fluctuation in blood flow to the brain. So how do you protect yourself without giving up the foods you love? The answer lies in timing and awareness. Enjoy salads and diuretic vegetables like romaine at lunch when your body is active and well hydrated. If you do eat leafy greens at night, pair them with a small glass of water or a slice of fruit rich in electrolytes. And always pay attention to the quiet signals. Morning dizziness, fatigue, or confusion aren't just old age. They're the body whispering for balance. The truth is, health after 60 isn't about restriction. It's about precision. You've earned the wisdom to eat not just what's healthy, but when it's healthy for you. Roman lettuce isn't your enemy. It's a teacher, one that reveals how aging isn't a battle against time, but a collaboration with it. Next, we move from leafy greens to something sweeter, crunchier, a vegetable that seems harmless, even playful. But under the surface, it can quietly disrupt the balance of your blood sugar and your brain's nighttime calm. Carrots, the sweet trap. Carrots, the golden emblem of health. Crisp, bright, cheerful. For decades, they've been the guilt-free snack of choice. Low in calories, high in vitamin A, a supposed miracle for your eyes. You can almost hear your younger self crunching through a handful, feeling virtuous. But after 60, even this innocent habit can quietly change the chemistry of your night. The danger doesn't come from toxins or additives. It comes from timing and physiology. Raw carrots are digested quickly. Their natural sugars, mostly in the form of sucrose and glucose, enter the bloodstream almost instantly. In younger adults, the pancreas responds smoothly, releasing insulin to usher that sugar into cells for energy. But as we age, this metabolic choreography begins to falter. Insulin sensitivity declines. The body's ability to regulate blood sugar, especially at night, grows uneven. Here's what happens when you snack on raw carrots before bed. Your blood sugar rises rapidly. Hours later, as you sleep, your body overcorrects. Insulin surges, pulling too much glucose from the bloodstream. Your sugar level drops. The brain, ever protective, releases stress hormones, cortisol and adrenaline, to bring sugar back up. Those same hormones tighten blood vessels and spike blood pressure. Combine that with mild nighttime dehydration, and the stage is set for what neurologists call nocturnal vascular stress. A tiny clot, a brief cutoff in blood flow, and the morning brings dizziness, slurred speech, or worse. That's exactly what happened to Leah Henderson, a 78-year-old retired nurse from Portland. Leah prided herself on her discipline. She had traded cookies for raw carrots. "My bedtime snack," she told me proudly. But soon she began waking up groggy, lightheaded, and confused. One morning, she couldn't remember how to make coffee, a routine she'd followed every day for 40 years. The diagnosis? A mild ischemic stroke. Her nightly carrot ritual had quietly driven her blood sugar on a roller coaster that her aging body could no longer manage. It's a sobering truth backed by science. Research from the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism shows that glucose variability, those ups and downs, is more damaging to blood vessels than steady high sugar levels. Each swing triggers oxidative stress, inflammation, and microscopic injury inside arterial walls. Over time, those fragile vessels stiffen and narrow, particularly in the brain. But here's where the story shifts, because knowledge transforms fear into power. Carrots are not villains. They're simply misunderstood. To enjoy them safely after 60, treat them like natural sugar in disguise. Eat them during the day, when your metabolism is most active and insulin response more stable. Pair them with protein or healthy fats. Hummus, boiled eggs, a handful of walnuts, which slow sugar absorption and smooth the glucose curve. And most importantly, listen to your mornings. If you wake dizzy, foggy, or unusually tired, it may not be just age. It might be your body's quiet plea for balance. At its heart, this isn't just a nutrition lesson. It's a metaphor for life after 60. Even sweetness, when mistimed, can turn against you. But with awareness and rhythm, it becomes fuel for clarity, not confusion. Next, we turn to a food that's older than medicine itself. Worshipped in ancient temples, prescribed by healers, and still found in nearly every kitchen today. It's nature's antibiotic, but for the aging body, it carries a hidden edge that can turn healing into harm. Garlic, nature's medicine, or silent risk for the brain. Since ancient times, garlic has been celebrated as a sacred medicine, a food believed to ward off illness, strengthen the heart, and even purify the spirit. The Egyptians buried it with their pharaohs. Roman soldiers ate it before battle. Hippocrates himself prescribed it as a remedy for infections and poor circulation, calling it nature's antibiotic. And science has since confirmed what history intuited. Garlic lowers blood pressure, supports the heart, and reduces inflammation. It's packed with allicin, a sulfur compound so potent it can change the chemistry of your blood within hours. But for seniors, particularly those taking blood-thinning medications, garlic's ancient power can turn quietly dangerous. Here's why. Garlic acts as a natural anticoagulant, thinning the blood and preventing clots. A good thing in moderation. But when combined with medications that do the same, like warfarin, Plavix, Xarelto, or even a daily low-dose aspirin, the effect can double, or even triple. Blood that flows too freely can't clot when needed. In fragile, aging vessels, that imbalance can lead not to blockage, but to bleeding, the kind that seeps silently into brain tissue and robs a person of speech, movement, or memory in seconds. That's what happened to Thomas Reeves, an 81-year-old retired railroad engineer from Missouri. After a minor heart procedure, his doctor prescribed a blood thinner. Wanting to speed his recovery, Thomas began taking a 600-milligram garlic supplement each morning and a raw clove every night. "I was just trying to help my heart," he told me later. 3 weeks later, Thomas was rushed to the hospital with blinding headaches and slurred speech. The scans revealed a hemorrhagic stroke, bleeding deep within the brain. His blood was so thin that a single small vessel had ruptured under pressure. When doctors reviewed his supplements, the cause became clear. It wasn't the medication alone, nor the garlic. It was the combination, unchecked and unspoken. This is the paradox of modern health, the collision between ancient wisdom and pharmaceutical precision. Garlic may be natural, but that doesn't mean it's harmless. Natural does not equal neutral. In fact, its power lies precisely in its ability to alter the chemistry of your body, the same way a prescription does. The key difference is control. Pharmacologists have long noted this overlap. Studies from the Journal of Clinical Pharmacology show that garlic supplements can significantly increase bleeding time in patients already on anticoagulants. Its compounds inhibit platelet aggregation, the process that allows blood to clot, which, while protective against heart attacks, can push aging vessels beyond their threshold when combined with other blood-thinning agents. So how do you preserve garlic's benefits without courting risk? First, talk to your doctor. Never add garlic supplements to your routine if you're already taking anticoagulants or aspirin. Second, stick to food form. The garlic you use in cooking is much gentler. Its allicin levels decrease when heated, reducing its blood-thinning potency while retaining its immune and heart benefits. Third, listen to your body's early warnings. Easy bruising, frequent nosebleeds, lingering fatigue, or unexplained headaches can all signal that your blood may be too thin. In a way, garlic teaches one of the deepest lessons of aging, that wisdom means respecting the line between medicine and excess. The same substance that can save a life can, in another dose or context, quietly endanger it. Thomas later told me, his voice trembling but steady. "I just wanted to do something good for myself. I didn't know too much good could hurt me." That is the quiet irony of longevity. We often try so hard to heal that we forget the body already walks a fine balance between protection and fragility. And this balance isn't limited to garlic. Another common kitchen staple, humble, fragrant, and beloved in every home, carries a similar double edge. It flavors our meals, lowers our cholesterol, and soothes inflammation. Yet after 60, it too can disrupt the body's fragile equilibrium between pressure, oxygen, and blood flow. Onions, flavorful, healing, but not always harmless. They sizzle in every kitchen, in soups, stews, and sauces, releasing that familiar, comforting aroma that feels like home itself. For generations, onions have been praised as healing food, rich in antioxidants, natural anti-inflammatories, and potent protectors of the heart. Yet, in the aging body, where balance becomes a fine art, even something as simple as an onion can quietly shift that equilibrium. The key compound behind its magic, and its risk, is quercetin, a flavonoid so powerful that researchers have studied it for decades. Quercetin acts as a vasodilator, relaxing and widening blood vessels to lower blood pressure and improve circulation. For younger adults, this is a gift. It reduces strain on the heart and enhances oxygen delivery throughout the body. But after 60, when arteries are thinner, less elastic, and often paired with blood pressure medication, this gift can become a gamble. Here's why. When onions combine with medications like beta blockers, ACA inhibitors, or calcium channel blockers, their effects can overlap. Blood pressure can drop too low, especially at night. When that happens, the brain, dependent on steady oxygen flow, may briefly be starved of nutrients. Dizziness, confusion, or fatigue on waking are often the first signs. But if the drop is sudden or severe, it can lead to microclot formation as the body reflexively tightens vessels to stabilize pressure. A tiny physiological tug-of-war that can, over time, result in a stroke. It's a cycle few recognize. First expansion, then constriction, an invisible rhythm that silently taxes the aging circulatory system. This is what doctors call vascular instability, and in older adults, it's far more common than we realize. A 2021 study in hypertension research found that older adults experience greater blood pressure fluctuations at night, particularly when combining vasodilatory foods or supplements with medications. And onions, especially raw or concentrated, can amplify that effect. But the issue isn't only biological, it's behavioral. Many seniors enjoy onion-heavy dinners, soups, sautés, stir-fries, comforting meals before rest. Yet it's during those quiet hours that the body is most vulnerable to blood pressure swings, hydration loss, and slow circulation. Eating large portions of onions in the evening can heighten those nighttime drops. So, what can be done? The answer lies, as always, in timing, moderation, and respect. Use onions as flavor, not the main event. A few slices cooked into a dish are safer than raw servings, which deliver a more potent quercetin dose. Prefer cooked onions. Heat breaks down some of the active compounds, softening their effects, while preserving their benefits. And most importantly, avoid onion-rich meals right before bed. Morning dizziness, fogginess, or weakness after dinner. Heavy nights might not be just aging. They could be subtle whispers from your circulatory system, asking for gentler handling. Onions remind us of something deeply human, that strength without balance becomes instability. Just as too much pressure can cause a vessel to burst, too little can leave the brain gasping for flow. Health, at its core, is harmony, not too tight, not too loose. Aging doesn't mean fragility. It means sensitivity. The art of tuning your life, your habits, your meals, to the rhythm of your changing body. And when you learn that rhythm, even simple foods become instruments of longevity rather than risk. But what happens when a food seems harmless, even nostalgic, a taste of childhood comfort, yet hides the metabolism of pure starch behind its golden sweetness? Our next vegetable looks innocent, but inside it behaves more like sugar than nourishment. Corn, the familiar stranger. There's something deeply comforting about corn. Its sweetness reminds us of summer barbecues, family picnics, and mornings with warm cornbread or golden grits. It feels innocent, wholesome even, a reminder of simpler times. But inside that comfort lies a quiet deception. Nutritionally, corn behaves far less like a vegetable and far more like a starch. And after 60, that difference can quietly change everything. Here's what really happens. When you eat corn, whether it's corn on the cob, cornmeal, or flakes, your body rapidly converts its natural sugars into glucose. In the young, resilient metabolism, insulin handles this surge with precision, escorting glucose into cells for energy. But in the aging body, that response slows. Insulin arrives late or overcompensates, causing blood sugar to spike and crash like a roller coaster. This rapid swing has consequences. Each spike in glucose triggers oxidative stress, a storm of free radicals that inflame the lining of your arteries. Each crash prompts stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline to surge, tightening blood vessels and increasing pressure. The combination thickens the blood and strains fragile arteries, particularly those in the brain, where even a tiny clot can mean the difference between health and catastrophe. I once met Robert Diaz, a 74-year-old carpenter who swore by his healthy breakfast. Corn grits with a drizzle of honey. "Better than bacon," he used to say with a grin. But after years of this routine, he began experiencing brief morning dizziness, then one day, numbness in his right hand. The tests revealed early microvascular changes in his brain, tiny clots and oxygen deficits caused by years of unstable glucose levels. He wasn't diabetic. He was simply unaware of how his favorite food had quietly overworked his system. Modern science has caught up with what his story reveals. A 2020 study in Nutrients found that high glycemic foods, especially refined corn products, were directly linked to increased stroke risk in adults over 65. The reason? Glycemic volatility. Every rapid rise and fall in blood sugar wears down the endothelial cells lining the arteries, creating microscopic scars where clots can form. And yet, the irony is that corn was once sacred. To the Aztecs and Mayans, maize was life itself, a divine crop believed to connect humans to the gods. But the corn of ancient times was different, smaller, less sweet, higher in fiber and nutrients. Over centuries, agriculture refined it, breeding for taste and texture, not balance. What we eat today bears little resemblance to that original grain of life. It's the story of modern food in miniature, beauty reshaped by excess. So must we abandon corn entirely? Not at all. The solution is context. Treat corn not as a vegetable, but as a carbohydrate source. Pair it with protein or healthy fats, eggs, avocado, beans, to slow digestion and steady glucose release. Avoid eating it alone or at night, when metabolism and hydration are lowest. And limit frequency. Corn should be an occasional guest on your plate, not a daily staple. Health, after all, isn't about purity. It's about proportion. The body after 60 is like a finely tuned instrument. It still plays beautifully, but the strings are more delicate. Every meal either maintains that harmony or pulls it subtly out of tune. Corn, in its sweetness, reminds us how easily comfort can disguise risk, and how wisdom is the ability to enjoy that sweetness with restraint. Now, we move to foods that seem the picture of elegance, vegetables associated with light, clean eating, and vibrant health. Yet even these, in the wrong timing and quantity, can quietly draw water from your bloodstream, unbalancing the very currents of life that sustain your brain. Asparagus and tomatoes, elegant dangers. There's something refined about asparagus and tomatoes. The delicate green spears served beside grilled fish, the bright red fruit simmered into a sauce or sliced into salads. They seem like the essence of clean eating, light, vibrant, sophisticated. Yet after 60, even elegance can deceive. Within their beauty lie subtle forces that, when combined with an aging body's slower rhythms, can quietly disturb the balance that protects your brain and circulation. Let's start with asparagus, the symbol of spring renewal. It's a natural diuretic, meaning it helps the body release water and sodium. For younger adults, this is often beneficial. It flushes toxins and reduces bloating. But for seniors, it can become a hidden drain. As kidneys age, their filtration power weakens. By the time we reach our 70s, they no longer regulate fluids with the same precision. The thirst signal, once clear, dulls to a whisper. So, when asparagus triggers fluid loss, the body doesn't replace it efficiently. The result is subtle dehydration, thicker blood, slower flow, higher clotting risk. Imagine the bloodstream like a river. During the day, it runs wide and strong. But at night, especially after diuretic foods or medications, that river narrows. The water recedes. The current slows. And somewhere in that shallower stream, a clot forms, unnoticed, until morning brings confusion, weakness, or slurred speech. I recall Margaret Hill, a 79-year-old retired librarian who ate steamed asparagus with dinner because it made me feel clean. One night, she woke dizzy and unsteady. Her blood pressure was low, her sodium levels imbalanced. The culprit wasn't a toxin, but too much purity. Asparagus paired with a diuretic pill, quietly draining her system while she slept. Science echoes Margaret's story. Studies from the Journal of the American Geriatric Society confirm that mild dehydration, even as little as a 2% loss of body water, can significantly thicken blood, reduce cerebral perfusion, and raise stroke risk in older adults. Combined with common medications, the effect multiplies. The rule is simple. Enjoy asparagus earlier in the day when hydration can be maintained. Pair it with a glass of water or hydrating foods like cucumber or melon. Respect it as both medicine and challenge, a vegetable that cleanses only when balanced by replenishment. Then there's tomatoes, fresh, tangy, and filled with the antioxidant lycopene, famous for heart protection and anti-aging benefits. But inside this beloved fruit lies a more complex chemistry, especially for the aging nervous system. Tomatoes belong to the nightshade family, containing compounds like histamines, tyramines, and solanine. In moderate doses, they're harmless, but in sensitive individuals, particularly those over 60, they can affect blood vessels and neurotransmitters in ways that mimic stroke-like symptoms: dizziness, numbness, blurred vision, or slurred speech. Doctors call these events stroke mimics, neurological reactions without a clot, but with similar symptoms. Tomatoes are also acidic, influencing electrolyte balance, particularly magnesium and calcium, which help stabilize nerve and muscle function. In an aging body already managing medications for blood pressure or circulation, this shift can amplify fragility. Late-night tomato soups or sauces, often paired with salt or carbs, can further dehydrate the system, magnifying the risk. Consider this. During sleep, your body enters a delicate balancing act. Blood pressure drops, hydration declines, brain circulation slows. Now add a diuretic vegetable like asparagus or an acidic nightshade like tomatoes. It's like tightening the ropes on an already tense bridge. One weak strand, one brief spasm of a vessel, and that balance can snap. Yet, and this is the paradox, both of these foods are deeply healing when used wisely. Asparagus supports detoxification and digestion. Tomatoes guard the skin and heart. The difference lies in the timing, quantity, and combination. Eat them earlier in the day. Hydrate before and after. Cook tomatoes gently. Heat reduces solanine and enhances lycopene. The lesson is one that echoes across all of aging nutrition. Even the purest foods require wisdom. In youth, the body forgives. In age, it demands respect. And that brings us to our final chapter, the revelation that ties all these lessons together. The true enemy isn't spinach or broccoli or corn, it's unawareness. Once you understand the shifting biology of age, you realize that food isn't the problem, it's the relationship we have with it. Let's bring it all together. The final wake-up call. Awareness as the real medicine. After hearing about these 9 ordinary vegetables and their hidden risks, it's natural to feel uneasy, even betrayed. You've spent a lifetime believing that vegetables were the safest, most reliable path to health. And for the most part, that belief was right. But time changes the equation. What nourished the body in one season of life can quietly challenge it in another. This is not a story of fear. It's a story of adaptation. At 60, 70, or 80, your body is not weaker. It's simply wiser, more intricate, more deliberate. The systems that once worked automatically now ask for mindfulness. Your kidneys no longer filter with youthful speed. Your blood vessels no longer stretch and spring back as they did decades ago. Hormones, enzymes, and neurotransmitters, all the silent messengers of health, move slower, more cautiously, requiring balance and rhythm. So, when an aging body meets modern habits, late dinners, supplements stacked on top of each other, superfoods eaten without context, small imbalances can create large consequences. Spinach with calcium at night, broccoli with blood thinners, romaine with dehydration, carrots with disrupted blood sugar. None of these foods are villains. They are reminders that nutrition isn't universal, it's personal, and it changes with time. Medicine now recognizes this shift. Gerontologists and nutrition scientists refer to it as nutritional bioadaptation, the way the aging body's metabolism rewrites the rules of digestion and absorption. Food no longer acts the same way because you are no longer the same organism. This isn't decline, it's transformation. Think of your body as a landscape. In youth, rivers run fast and deep. Storms come and go without lasting marks. In age, the rivers move slower, but they carve deeper channels. Each decision, every meal, every hour of rest, every breath shapes that landscape for years to come. The goal isn't to force youth to return, but to cultivate harmony with this new terrain. Here's what that looks like in practice. Simplify your plate. Choose whole foods that don't create chaos in your blood sugar or hydration. Fewer ingredients. More awareness. Time your meals. Eat heavier or more diuretic vegetables earlier in the day, when the body is most resilient and circulation strongest. Stay hydrated, intentionally. After 60, thirst hides behind habit. A glass of water in the evening can do more for your brain than any supplement. Talk to your doctor. Medications, supplements, and foods form an invisible web of interactions. Discuss your diet the way you discuss your prescriptions. Listen inward. Morning dizziness, confusion, fatigue. They aren't random. They're your body whispering for correction, not punishment. Because the truth is this: you are not fragile. You are adaptive. The same awareness that once built civilizations, cured diseases, and extended human life now lives in you. When you listen to your body, you tap into a wisdom that medicine itself is still learning to measure. At Ageless Vitality, we believe aging is not a descent. It's an ascent into clarity. To age consciously is to live courageously. To eat with awareness is to claim your independence from fear, marketing, and routine. So the next time you look at your plate, remember this. What you eat today becomes the clarity, strength, and memory you carry into tomorrow. You are the guardian of your own longevity, the scientist, the philosopher, and the artist of your health. Eat wisely. Live consciously. And know this: aging isn't the closing chapter of your story. It's the refinement of everything you've learned so far. Here's to living not just longer, but stronger, sharper, and wiser.